galactic travelers, cosmic crew, what's happening? Today is, I'm just checking the feed to make sure you guys can see this graph. Can you see the graph? I'm behind the scenes, guys. This feels so weird talking to you guys. Can you hear me? And can you see the board, or do I need to chill out that light? Is anybody there? Hello, galactic travelers. I have a new setup, so I'm trying to work with me because this is what's happening right now in the consciousness. These are the reason you're having weird timeline shifts and dreams. This is the timeline shifts that are coming up in your seed. This is the Lyran consciousness. This is Venus with the bags, picking them up. And first, I just want to say I am so grateful to everyone in all space and time, to all beings in all galaxies, and to the one sun that we are. And I ask that we all shine bright because we are the sun now. And more will come. But now we all have a big gauge in the sky. How cold is it getting? I don't know. We need some more suns. But we just got the keys. Venus had to go through, this evolution process of overlapping in Venus retrograde in order to pick up the keys. And I did that video yesterday, and I talked about all the planets, and I looked at all the astrology, and I didn't even look at Venus. Venus, it went into 0 degree Sagittarius, which was right at the new moon. And if y'all remember my chart, I've got 6 planets in Libra. So, all the things that we have talked about on this channel about Libra season, unlocking that Arcturian energy, the blend of the Spica and the Nekar and the Arcturus energy, why that was such a pivotal point with that Arcturus gate was because Arcturus is coded the same as the matrix. The Arcturus energy is, the polarized, the light and the dark, if you will. So, but it's the natural program. It's the natural motherly program, the organic program that this universe was created to react within the human energy field to teach you a lesson. But it was more like the lessons were to be learned like this. You get on a bike when you're small, you start trying to ride the bike, you fall down, you skin your knee, you counter correct yourself, you get back on the bike, and you start going again. Well, what happened is that because this universe that we lived in has taken so many polarizations and fractals in and of itself to the point of this point where we are making this completion, is that those lessons then were getting cubed, and in a way is how it worked, right? And then if you can think each time that the universe replicated itself and replicated that Arcturian lesson, then it also had like an Orion program theme behind it. So when you start going down, this diagram that I have listed here, and we're talking about the astrology that's happening today, right now, on 0110-201. What? Now, I want to remind you guys, right, that my moon, I'm sorry, Neptune, my Neptune is on, my Neptune is on 3 degrees Sagittarius, which basically is Ophiuchus. And it's 3 degrees Sagittarius, which is the Ophiuchus, which is basically the opposite of unholy six from a consciousness perspective, from all these energies merged together from and then which replicated into two polarized versions, right? So that today is, oh my gosh, I think, what's at 3 degrees Sagittarius? Now I can't even remember. But we've got there's something, now my mind is slipping. There's something on top of 3 degrees Sagittarius right now. It's Venus. Venus is at 3 degrees of Sagittarius. So I have Venus on top of my Neptune, and then I have 6 planets in Venus, right? So this is like, and I've always said, like, I'm Venus. Basically, that's really from a seed perspective. This is how you kind of start looking at the seed variations, where your DNA lies, but then this is also the collective DNA pattern, and this is the universe DNA pattern that is then replicating in and of itself within the human genome. And so this keeps going, and I've made it, and I've cut it off at Jupiter, and I've made it just about this transit that we're in today. But first, I want to describe what the true essence of these energies are, and the intent for showing up is it's Venus is debunking what the true Neptune and what the matrix is, and this energy, and we're explaining now not the matrix but the true organic um construct that we're stepping back into, where we are the energy, we are the sun, we are creating our entire universe as an organic being on this planet, and that is the Lyra consciousness. The Venus energy is a 9. When there was enough energy that created the 9 energy, which was at the top of the chart, this goes directly up into Vega and then into the sun. So it goes Sun, Vega, Venus. And then Lyra, which is basically an energetic glue, if you will, that's the first root race, which this is Christ consciousness. Others call this Lyra consciousness. Okay, so Lyra connection, then then Lyra's energy with the 2. So when we added the feminine, then that's where the 2s collapse in and of itself. That's where organisms start to be made with energy. And then Lyra split into 3 when that happened. And these are all programmed to the same energy with the codes. They're basically the universal key. They're universal codes to how what the numerology is for moon, what the numerology is from Pluto, because that's when we say moon and when we say Pluto and we say Saturn, those 3 are literally the energies that our tones and words and voice are putting out and saying, because they're connected to the energies of those letters. And really the creation of our universe is through this pattern. So These are the three. So basically, Lyra created the organic, which was Moon and Pluto. These were also, we're starting to link these back now to Loki and Loki's children. For instance, Loki in that story is Lyra. And I forgot, and I think Cygnus is basically, his wife basically is this Spica that I'm talking about right now. His energy then, polarized into something outside that created that energy frequency and fractaled it out. So it was Moon and Pluto, and then Moon and Pluto merged together on the opposite of what that true is, then became the third, which is Saturn. All those frequencies together, the Moon, Pluto, and Saturn, created the energy frequency of Spica, which is the organic, which is a three energy. It's programmed just as these. Then that energy created the Antares energy, which is the six. These are also music tones. Antares then created Earth. Well, then we have Earth with the feminine created the eight eights, which are the Cygnus and the Hyades. Then Cygnus and Hyades, the masculine version is Regulus and Arcturus, which is 4-4. If you're seeing these numbers, if you're seeing 44 all the time, or 88, or 33, or 99, notice this is what's linking these gate patterns. And it's also where you can link up your synchronicities, and where you can go back and with those synchronicities start understanding then what gate you're like, where you're at dimensionally, right? So that when something comes up, then you can see, if you that's where that's where the program is, because now we're all clearing these programs. So that goes back to a Regulus and Arcturus, which is 44. And then that creates Neptune, which is our first five energy, and Zeta Reticuli is 5, Neptune is 5, and that's pretty much it. Neptune created Sirius. So Sirius energy is linked back to Isis, is linked back to Lyra, is linked back to Venus. And then that split off into the Orion and the Pleiades, which are the other 88 gate. That's basically, see how these are now kind of collapsing. Now we've got 848. So now it's like we've got two, because this energy is going different than these. Now this energy is going to expand all of that. And look what Jupiter is on the other side of Jupiter, Betelgeuse, Andromeda. And then that fractals off into Bellatrix. So Jupiter is like the 3D construct, the 3D programs of, like I talked about yesterday, Betelgeuse with more like living underground, and this is why we liked the Bad Boys, and this is why our media was glorifying gore and wrestling and just UFC, gladiators, all that comes from that Betelgeuse template. The more sexy, hot money you make from drugs, pimping, and woo woo, then the more cool you are. That's Betelgeuse. And then Andromeda is more like Star Wars. Everybody's ready for a galactic attack. They're worried that the Alpha Draconics are going to come out in lizard suits and jump on the planet. But that's why, because their consciousness is still seeing the polarity down here. So now that I've kind of run through that, let's first of all, did y'all get that? I'm like behind the scenes. What's up, Neon Glow Dance, Lucy Ann? Hello. Oh, Amanda's here. Hey, baby. Tony. T, the fifth world, the sun is shining brighter than I've ever seen it today. I just posted it this morning. Hoot hoot! And I loved your video on the blue and the red cochina, because basically the blue and the red cochina are right here. But remember that the blue and the red cochina, this is linear. So what we're going to end up doing, can y'all see there's my hand. Oh, this is so weird. Like I can see it. It's like delayed. Like I'm back here with my marker by my side and I'm watching it on the screen move around. It's still moving. Look how much it's delayed. That's crazy. Okay. This is going to start moving. This moves, and so this is going to collapse in and of itself. So like Regulus and Arcturus is the higher consciousness, if you will. It's like Lyra is closer, like this is the body, and then when we get to right here, it's like the universe, and then when we get to the bottom, it like collapses all this negative space and creates basically what would be considered space. So that's the blue. That's so cool. You're catching the blue and the red cochina, and go check out her channel. She does beautiful. It's a beautiful symphony dance musical that's happening in the skies because, remember, I mean, that this is why we're catching all these cool things in the clouds, like it's not clouds, that it really is reflecting a part of our soul back to us. And, that was really clear that day that I did that had that golden activation. And then I got that picture of the dragon in the sky. It was like, whoa. I mean, it was so clear. And that's that reflection back at us. I've got a really cool one the other day of the Arcturus ship. I mean, you can totally see the ship. You can even see like the weird constructs underneath, but it's all just a prism. It's all just a polarization of whatever energy I'm holding right then. So it's like now I look at the sky as kind of like a mirror. Whenever I saw that big dragon, I was like, whoa, I think I need to maybe need to make sure I'm balanced in on that energy. Right? I mean, wow. But that's what's happening to each of us. And so those blue and pink is really the human genome coming back in as one. And so we're working now in this harmony, because remember, this is a Fibonacci sequence, and what was happening is that the bottom of the pyramid, if you will, this is the pyramid, and the bottom of the pyramid, notice this is a 7 7, okay, and notice this is Earth. Oh my gosh. See, this is what's tripping me out. Like I can keep going on this chart all day long and tell you where heaven is, and just because well, at least what dimension it was coded to. But anyway, this is the 7-7 gateway, and this is linked in the Zeta Reticuli and the Alpha Draconic and the qubit and all that big time, because this is the bottom Merkaba. Okay. So what happened with the DNA, how we got trapped, okay, or how they trapped Venus, if you will, or how we trapped ourselves because of the polarity of our energy, right? Which is really how the whole thing's done. So nobody did anything to anybody, but I'm just explaining how it happened. And then also I'm explaining now, these are the gates that are within Gaia itself, the earth, right there at Cape Horn. So it's linked with the DNA and the earth, right? Okay, so these 7-7 keys, well, basically what that DNA did is this DNA was supposed to stop, and then because was supposed to then collapse in and of itself, do the bottom, and then go back up, right? Because you've got a triangle down here, the 2 in the top, the 2 at the bottom, the Isis and the Osiris. Well, so that was the DNA sequence and how it was supposed to run. Well, Zeta Reticuli added code here that just kept replicating, and so it wasn't collapsing in and of itself, and it wasn't staying pure. It was going out. Okay. But so now that, and so this is what I was talking about yesterday when we're talking about merging, because a part of our DNA, is synthetic a little bit. And I'm not saying that we're turning into robots or anything like that at all. It's just like we're going to exist with the technology. We work with it. It's basically, I mean, that's pretty freaking cool. That's organic tech. That's where we're heading. So, but right, there's a polarity of that can really keep you trapped. And and right here at Arcturus and Regulus, if you will, this is the divine feminine, divine masculine seed. And so the two original twins from consciousness perspective. Okay. So, and FYI, Gaia is right here. So Gaia is basically Venus, is how it's coded, which made sense why Earth and Venus were twins, right? But it's just it's the energy, it's the consciousness. So this was fractaling out. So that's why we had to go to such a high template of Lyra in order to evolve, because we couldn't go in an organic evolution step like humanity should have. We had to incarnate and reconnect all we had to reconnect all of this and make the DNA go back up pure through incarnating through the zeta reticuli and the alpha draconic energy. And that's what's going on right now. So, remember, like, the Matrix is right here. The Matrix is basically the synthetic Neptune. Neptune is the collective unconscious. So it's not programmed the exact same. Neptune is its own energy. It's plus a masculine. So if you will, the Matrix is right here. And it's the polarized of Neptune. Okay. And it's right in between, Sirius and Orion. Okay. So it's like Neptune's already, we've already got a mirrored image with Arcturus. I mean, its number is literally 3113, and the matrix is 3113. It's just that you've got there's two different versions always. And then it polarized it. And then when you get down here, right, then the constructs start creating. So it's like you still have, you have to have these blends of these energies that create this 9 for your thought. This is basically thoughts, because this 9 then creates chi, which then kind of starts this process all over. If you notice, we've got a 9 here, and the next one's not until Jupiter, and the one before that was Venus, right? So this is how we're creating our reality, and this is the organic. This is what we're putting back together. And today, Pluto is at 20 degrees Capricorn. Well, 20 degrees Capricorn is where we're going to have Pluto and Saturn conjunct in 2020, which is not far away, guys. So it's like we have Pluto on that 20-degree Cap, but that's also where the sun is today. So on 110201, notice this is 2, but it's 2 1s. This is like Fibonacci, 1 1 to the 2, and then it's 1, and this is also, this is taking 2 to the 1. I mean, there's a lot going on with that, and then this is also a build-up key today to the whole 112, January 12th to January 21st, freaking crazy portal flip thing that's coming up. Okay, but this is like the basis of all of it. So it was super, super important that I show up and kind of and walk through this for all of us, because this is all new information that's coming out right now. Okay. If y'all know the transits better than me right now, chime in, because I haven't been able to keep up. This is what I took down. So we have the sun on Pluto at 20 degrees. So we've got a 2020 activation today. Well, notice where Pluto is. Pluto is basically the mirror of the moon. Well, what's the moon? The moon is your emotions. The moon is your reflections, right? Because the moon really is just a playback. It's kind of like a recorder that's playing back an experience, right? And so this is what we've worked through at this point. And if you're working through it to get here right now, to get to, if this is where you're at, then this is where you realize that you're creating, your own reality through your emotions. And whatever is sparking up, whatever it is, no matter whose fault it is, no matter what Democrat, Republican, no matter what person's getting hurt somewhere, no matter what it is, it's all just this Jupiter, it's all these constructs that were set up in order to create energetic responses. And as soon as your body attaches to one of these energetically, it creates a magnet. If you have any fear, if you have any remorse, any guilt, anything that comes from anything. And this is where it gets interesting, right? Because I mean, this is in your dreams. This is, and I want to get into that in a minute. We're going to go into some of these timeline things that we're all seeing, and missing time, and right. I mean, all of that is down there in Jupiter. Well, I'm telling you that because we've got today Moon conjunct Jupiter. No, Moon conjunct Neptune. Moon conjunct Neptune, and then Venus is conjunct Jupiter and squared to Neptune. So this moon is getting reprogrammed right now. It's affecting, all this is going on, and it's all going on in Ophiuchus. I mean, because this is the true. This is the dimension. This is how it's set up. So now we can at least see this is what's happening, right? So it's like within our reality, all these constructs and timelines are coming back to either show you where you didn't make the same mistake and you chose to stay here, or you switched this timeline in some way even though you weren't conscious of it, or you're getting crazy emails and propositions from, like, like the Illuminati email, and the weird, email I got. And I know all of y'all are having those weird it's like, what did you just ask me? Like, where did that just come from? It's because, for instance, the Illuminati, well, if your seed has lots of big connections down here in that dimension, well, at a soul level, you were in the Illuminati. You still were. because that's on a timeline, that was on a timeline loop until you squash it and pull the energy in, and show no judgment for it, and realize that an aspect of you was down here on this dimension doing some things that the you really wouldn't be so happy about, but you understand how you got trapped down there. So what's happening is that these contracts that were on our DNA, literally on our DNA, these were contracts on our DNA energy field that has overlapped since the creation of Venus. So it's clearing all the way back. We're starting to clear. We're getting there, right? All the way back up. So realize that I lost my train of thought. Mm, what was I saying right here? What was I saying right there? Hi, Scott. Hi, Quirky Cosmo. Hey, guys, and Quirky Cosmo is going to be on Peace Dealer on Monday. Honey, tell them when you're going to be on, and they're just going to have a conversation. She's and Quirky Cosmo, Carrie Ann's been down. I know she's, you know, we're in the Ophiuchus consciousness. I know this is definitely now available to more, but I know her and I were working. I mean, you all are just, we're all connecting different pieces. So she's overlaying some stuff on top of this, which is what I highly hope you guys are all doing. Anyway, okay, just let me get back. So I guess it doesn't matter. Venus conjunct. So we have Venus conjunct square Neptune. So Neptune, remember, Neptune is the opposite of the matrix, right? I mean, it's the unconscious, but it's the organic. So it's like we've got this, there's just this battle that's going on at a reality level, you know, because down here is what's attached to the actual physical plane. So it's like this battle that's going on for this physical reality. And look how long it's been going on. You know, this is the Sirius Orion Wars. So I'm going to do a video. I might even do it today or tomorrow on the StarSeedology of Donald Trump and Nancy Pelosi, because it's straight up is this. This is Donald Trump, this is Nancy Pelosi, and they were doing, and those two souls have been doing this that long. Like, this is a showdown that they had. This is where Nancy Pelosi's Chiron is. So funny. I mean, it's like for real. So it so whenever you see that whole construct from that perspective, you're like, oh my god, look how far down it is. It's way down here in Neptune. It's like, just don't pay it any attention. Like, it's this is what it is. It's this major freaking retarded dark white green blue red blah 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 whatever. No, you don't want, it's like I'm showing you these colors because it creates colors, but the colors really are important because these colors, you see where they're linked back up to. And so whenever you now what you start realizing is, oh my gosh, everything in this universe was controlled by black magic colors and numbers. And it's so simple. It really is. Your mind just starts seeing the numbers in different patterns and key flips and code. And then it's like, holy crap, that's how it was being done. But also understand that now that's what we're taking back. That if you still, if we're still identifying with Sirius and Orion and the galactic wars and all of that, well, then we need to tune in. We need to tune in with our consciousness right here and say, okay, tell me what I'm missing, and tell me and help and release this from me, because that is just an energetic construct of it. And when you release that, then your energy is going to go up and it's going to stop confusing you so much. So if you're in this, like, black, white, all this or you have clients or, anybody that are right in that black, white stuff, well, then now you have just a visual of where their seed, their consciousness is stuck. Now understand that this is the 22 gateway right here. This is the 22 gateway that we unlocked through all the astrology in 2018, and that the eclipse built up to 2017 to get to the 22 gateways in order to unlock that 22 code. So basically that's the twos that we needed in order to unlock this Arcturus, which is just the blend of the two. You go back and you have an emotion, you take a look in the reflector, you see what the lesson was, you run it through your program, and then you take a new action. You look in your reflector with no attachment of fear, whatever, no matter what. You're looking at yourself, you're looking at Trump, you're looking at the man next door who beats his child. I know it's hard, whatever. And this is right now so important for all of us to hold, shields up, because we're traveling in a vacuum, and right now we are completely split to where we're polarizing the light and the dark, right? And each one of us, it's like we're holding this line right now so we can pull this further and further out. And so, this is like not dumbing down your truth, not dumbing down your information, and I know it's hard, because at the same time, it's like, why can't everybody see what's going on? And I don't understand. And, and we're some of us are still holding some judgment there, or that pops up, but that's natural. But just realize that we really are all one, and we're powering the sun. I mean, when you kind of think about it from that perspective, like, the rest of everything seems a little bit trivial, doesn't it? We are all one, and we're powering the sun. We can control how much of an ice age we have, but we have to control it from within. Right? And so everything else doesn't even, it's all just other people's experiences. We get so involved in other people's experiences, and then and one of the big warnings, that from, like, for instance, to the community right now, is to be careful, right? Because there's those, we're right here on the other side of these gates now, and we're going to have people possibly that are going to try to now are going to return to us, that had previously dropped off, and now they're going to return, to us, and jump in our boat. And if you're not careful, then you're going to get wrapped up in all their crap trying to save them, because you're so excited that they're finally here. But the intent behind it isn't for them to come up, it's to bring you down. Discern, be careful, right? Be careful. Just discern, have intuition. But you can see how that's tricky, right? I mean, that's tricky. And so we want to hold that space. Yeah, Neptune, Sirius square Jupiter on Venus. And I put down, because I was talking to Amanda about this earlier, and she said, "Where's Mars?" And I started laughing, and I said, "Mars is still wondering why he can't get it up." Oh crap, it's so funny. And then we looked up the word, and she said, "Yeah, he's looking for the blue pill." Hoot hoot. And then I looked up the word Viagra, and it's legit programmed 11111. It's 5 ones is how Viagra is programmed. 3 to the 10th plus 1. Viagra is programmed at the divine feminine and divine masculine DNA. That's why it can, and basically it's a bunch of 5 energy, and this is a 4 energy. So a 4 and a 5 create the 9 in the energy field in the estrogen. Bam. But do you need to take the pill? No. Whenever your man has a problem, just say, "Baby, just say Viagra, say Viagra, say Viagra." Right? We're gonna see if it starts working, because that's the whole point, that's, because all this stuff is just about understanding that it's sound and resonance, and this is where it comes back to the root word of everything. The more root word that you get down to the root is the more purer the frequency. If your name on Facebook is Joshua Ann Lowell, blah blah, right? Then whenever people say it's losing resonance, you know? Like my name freaking is Christy, which is linked to that whole Christ energy, which is linked to the 7 gates, which were this holding this thing hostage. So it's like I'm even sitting here thinking, do I want, you know, just me calling myself that, in the old energy. Now that it's released, it's different. It's releasing, but in the old energy, it was automatically, because of the resonance of it and because of the controls, the black magic that was behind the scenes controlling this from a DNA perspective. It was controlling part of the Joshua, Mary Magdalene 13th bloodline. You see, it was cutting it off. We weren't, none of us, no, not a being on this planet was getting all their pure energy frequency, their inheritance, their true DNA, which is our energy frequency, which is Nasara Jasara. And once we get done on the other side of, I think by the other side of January 21st, where these are going to start, we're going to start seeing more of this line up, and we're going to have a better understanding of then what is actually going to manifest next month. Because I was also reminded that in January, it was to the day almost 8 months from May of 2018, and that was the Waysack full moon, and that's the one where I birthed that plasma field, and then that set me off in that consciousness to connect and that's when the OA was connected. Okay. Well, it was exactly 8 months. So 7 months of a completion cycle. The 8th month is like basically it's settling. It's complete, it's like they're merging together. You've got an 8, the infinity, a circle on the top, a circle on the bottom. They merge together. And so when it hits that 9th month in pregnancy, it hits that 9th week, that 9th month, right? But 9 months for sure. When it hits that 9 months, it turns a 9, and then it creates this replication, right? So it's basically where it opens up, and then it's born, and like a baby. So that 9th month is, that's going to be like February 6th, February 5th, and with the 1-2 codes, right? So right around there is where it's 9 months exactly. And that would be the full OA, the organic atom, the organic angel, if you will, right? Which is then linking back up to the the IA, which is the higher frequency, which is back to the 1. If you want to put it in tones, it's Ia. So everything's broke down to the root. So the simpler that we use our words, and this is all going to connect back into our Akash once we just let it flow, and once we start seeing it. just like how now all this makes sense to with the planets and everything else, and this is basically our pineal gland. So uh we have so much more of a roadmap, and I'm so grateful. So this is also how we're missing, we're missing time, um, right? Because these construct, there is no time. We're like floating up here, and this is also why a lot of us are in this solitary mode. We know, we just know not to go outside too much. We're staying still, and literally again, we're in that disco ball time machine, and now it's like that disco ball time machine is running getting our field back to the original template, so that we can visualize that reality that at the same time, don't you see, we're creating what we're stepping into with our thoughts. That's how all this was made. First there's Venus, then Venus creates the energy of Lyra, then Lyra creates boom, boom, boom. So it's like right now we're Venus getting ready to create again, legit. I mean, because it's like we created once, and then it was like, whoa, it took us forever to pull it back together. Now we've got all the tools on this, and we've learned some lessons, like, crap, you can go crazy on how you could control shit back on the back end, but I mean, we've learned that lesson, right? We've learned it. So we're recreating again naturally, but it's like our thoughts right now. So it's like, whoever you're hanging around right now, whoever you're spending focus with, whoever you're giving attention to this month, especially until the 21st, just make sure you want that around for a while, because that's just like we're resetting a natural reality around us, released from all this. So we're really creating again from here. So, this is why these timelines are coming up. Amanda yesterday had an experience that I wanted to share, and I think she's on the chat. Because we're all having these different experiences of maybe seeing where we've died before in different timelines, or where we were taken out, or now, like for her uh experience was that her twin, who she knows for sure was her twin, um died in a car accident in 2016, and she was supposed to be in the car. She was supposed to be with him. It happened right down the street from her house. And this was her trigger event. This was her tower moment. And it's been, a big part of her journey, and reconnecting to and understanding that his energy was never gone, connecting back into it, seeing him and other people, so um yesterday she said, the energy was so strong, because this is kind of, remember, it's like this is taking over our being, and you just need to let it, because this is stuff that's holding you down from being able to receive all the DNA, because no matter what template you have, you're getting all of it. Okay, so she realized that when she had decided not to go and get in the car with him, she even remembered looking at the clock. She knew exactly what time, and it was 11:11. He left, and then he died in a car accident just moments later. And she said that that came over her, but at first what happened is her eyes started moving in figure eights, and then it just kind of fractaled off, and she was seeing like speeded up movies, of all these different timelines linking, where she had, you know, kind of, and even, what would have happened if she wouldn't have done things, right? Like different perceptions, and it all happened, within an instant. And I found that really interesting because the fact that she was moving her eyes like that in a figure eight, looking two eyes together, moving in a figure eight, reminded me of the pranic healing. I don't know if you guys remember, but I if you're having pains in your back, like right behind your heart, and it's like sharp pains that's been there for a while and it won't go away, and you look into pranic healing, Pranic, and search that on Cosmic Christie too, because there's free pranic healing centers in major cities that do pro bono clinics. It's a part of the structure, and no matter how strong your soul is with the amount of trauma that we've been through, sometimes we need some assistance to get that emotional energy out of our emotional body after we have a kundalini awakening. Sometimes, you can't just get it out by yourself. The energy, so you need extra help, and that is what uh how I cleared up mine, okay? But the way pranic healing works is, in the beginning, you connect with the earth. It's beautiful. You do a meditation, you're connecting with the earth and the energies of the earth. And then they have you do an eye exercise where you take both eyes and you look up, and then you look to the right, and then you look down like a circle, but only half a circle. And you do 12 to the right, and then you do 12 to the left. And whenever I did that, and, for the first time, it really activated multidimensionality, like, and it was right before I had that healing done. And so knowing that Amanda Soul had her do that, there's something to that. Okay. So I just wanted to drop that little dime there, because you kind of do some circles and stuff with your eyes, because all you're really doing is, moving your lenses around so that you're getting more fractals of other dimensions, right? And so, but don't do it more than a certain amount of time. Don't do it 20 times, right? Make sure you're doing it like, when the circle to the right is 12 and then 12. So I would say, as long as you're doing, you know, 12 figure eights, then you're good, right? Because then if not, then it's going to fractal out again, because what you're doing is creating an energetic twine, if you will, to see in those other dimensions. So I wanted to share that, 'cause trippy. It's so cool. Of course, the high priestess is going to have that. Um, Also, like, if you can't sleep, and it's like you look you're it's one you see it's 1:11, or you look at the clock and it's 1:12, and then you're like, "Okay, now I can go to sleep." It's like our souls are doing that too, because right now, remember, it's like while we're in the time machine and we're developing the codes that are connecting that energy on the outside of our time machine right now, if you will, then after we get through this portal and these things are locked in, after, into February, then that's whenever it's going to start connecting back into our reality, a whole lot more. Right now we're still kind of like in, defense mode, because we're merging all these together. um so it's like the outside, that the reality is, it's like you're made, you have to see that 111, because that's what you're pulling in another dimension, and there is no time in space. So it's like our reality doesn't care if it's 3 o'clock in the morning. It was, our reality doesn't. It's like, all right, if you want it, you're linking into it. Here's the energy of it, right? So I wanted to just bring that up. Um, I've also been having major stomach stuff, especially yesterday and this morning. Just I don't want to say it, but like runny, um, not really nauseous, but no appetite at all. I mean, I pretty much ate some lettuce yesterday. I haven't eaten at all today. I'm a little hungry, but I'm not like starving at all. Um, and the other thing is, I don't know if I mentioned this because I'm trying to protect people's privacy, so I won't even mention the relationship. But this came up again, having dreams of seeing what your life would be like if you wouldn't have woke up. That's a big one right now. That's because you're seeing the reflection of what's falling away, of a timeline that you're pulling away from and what's falling away. And this happened to me about a week ago, and it was the most vivid dream I have had in a very long time because I normally don't see the dreams. I'm definitely not conscious, right? So this is whenever we're becoming aware and lucid in our dreams, that it's just a visitation to another timeline and another dimension. And I was in a house of an ex's woman. And what was crazy is her, and I could see her and I was talking to her, but no one could see me. I was there purely as an observer. But, when you're in the middle of your dream, you don't realize that. So, it looked about the same timing, not far away from now, but she looked awful, extremely horrid. Um, and I didn't I didn't see them, the man and the woman together, my ex. I didn't see them together. But, at first I didn't at first my consciousness just landed me in this room, and when I saw her, I started screaming at her. And then that like that and I was following behind her and I was screaming at her, and then I was looking at her, and then I started feeling sorry for her. And then I heard her griping about something to someone that was at this party she was throwing, and the person said, "I told you that they would, ruin your life or whatever." And then I started feeling sorry for her, and then I was leaving, and then it's like then the dream morphed, and I was in my old house, and my ex was standing at the door, and he just looked awful, awful, no teeth, 150 pounds, maybe, and he's 6 foot tall. I mean, awful. And he's the only one who interacted with me. And it's like he gave me a hug and then he walked me out the door. And it was so crazy. But I was like, I knew that is what it would have been. That is exactly, if I would have not woke up and it would have stayed, and that is exactly what that was me. I was looking at it, a reflection of me in an alternate reality, right? And so that and other people are having this experience too. So anyway, I wanted to add that. So I know this has been a lot of information, but I'm gonna hush for now because I'm gonna chill a little bit, and I'm also starting to write these seminars and stuff on the Starseedology, and starting and getting this information down so that you guys can start following along with me on your own as I'm teaching it and as it's coming through me to teach it, right? Because that's basically what's happening. I was just told, hurry up and get on, and this is what you need to discuss. So this will be coming out, now we have a little bit better way to describe it as we're developing and starting to wrap our mind uh, around the constant motion of all of us beautiful shining stars. You're a shining star. no matter who you are. Bum, bum, ba, bum. Dun, 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 dun. 'Cause I just wanna love you. It's like really if everyone just right now would stand up and wiggle their hip, like rotate your hips in a figure eight, rotate your hips in a figure eight, start moving your hips right now in a figure eight and go, "Ee-yah, ee-yah, ee-yah." Woo! That's an activation, right? Hoot, hoot. I love you. Mwah. Be CoCoChi. StarSeedology. If you want a reading, I'll put it down at the bottom. Email me. It's getting good. I'll see y'all soon for the great galactic shift of all ages, time, and dimensions. Cosmic Christie, over and out.